we can see that. Coming into this group because it hasn't all year, but you also worry about the getting out of character. Throughout much of the season, and that they play with tremendous resiliency. And their mental toughness is gaining, they're getting better. I think there's room for them to continue to improve. As I just said to Yogi Ferrell, when you can look at a guy like Yogi and honestly tell him that he's getting better every week, and you can see differences in his game. Maybe I'm the only one that can see him because I see him so much, but when you're seeing that in him, and you know that everybody else is doing the same thing, and they are improving. And senior night can really, it can turn it into a closure situation, but it's really not. And these guys are excited and focused. They know they've got.
First, to go just over the bigger picture on Yogi, obviously a lot of things said about him tonight, a lot of things said about him this season. Has there been any group of moments where you felt like you just saw, and maybe you talked about over there, a different player in him as a senior, and why?
Oh, I think it's all, it probably is hard to pinpoint that. I would say the Notre Dame game, because he wanted to win the game so bad, and he wasn't having a very good first half. He wanted to play well, right? I mean, it's so, you guys want to win, but they want to play well, and he was forcing it. And it was just very clear to me that he just needed to let it come to him by making his teammates better. And I think he saw the results of that, and he did some really good things inside the game, defended, passed, made a couple of shots at the end. But I think it's those kind of moments, and then they kind of compound. And I think what Yogi's learned to do is not let his offense, or if it was really good or if it wasn't so good, affect how he led, affect how he defended. I don't know if it's ever affected how he's defended here. I mean, I think he's one of the best. He's definitely one of the best defensive players I've ever had the privilege of coaching. He's also one of the best defensive players I've watched as a college basketball coach, because he can guard 1 through 4. He'll guard 5 if he wanted to. He'll guard the 5 player, and he's so good at it. But to me, he knew that he really bought into the fact that he could do a lot to impact winning, and some of it would be seen, some of it wouldn't be seen. But at the end of the day, the results were gonna take care of themselves, and I think that's what he's done. And he's always set a tone with work ethic here. He set a tone with how hard he practices. He set a tone with his competitiveness. He set a tone with his seriousness. And I think this year he absolutely set a tone with sharing his knowledge with his teammates and holding them more accountable, even today's in huddles. I mean, he's not. He's very comfortable getting after someone because he knows what they're capable of, not just because they made a mistake, but because he knows and he's invested in what they're capable of. And when you got a senior like that that's like that with his freshmen and sophomores, let alone the guys in his own class, it's a pretty strong deal. So he's made himself not only a tremendous player, but a tremendous leader.
Satisfying is the word, but how impressive is it that they were able to show that kind of growth?
Well, again, to me, it's
it's not a closure time, right? I mean, and so you can't, I don't even want to think in those terms, but they've been gradually getting better. And it's not like we made a lot of changes at 5-3. If anything, our offense was as poor as what was going on defensively. Defensively, we weren't as aggressive. Defensively, we had to change a couple of pick and roll coverages. Defensively, we weren't playing like, you always want to get a guy to play on the ball like he's not going to have any help, right? And there were too many times early in the season where we were waiting for the help to be there rather than really trying to guard the player, and especially in Maui. You know, we get hit on a screen and we'd wait for somebody to pick it up. Well, Thomas wasn't ready to do all that yet. And we grew out of that because we just kept getting better. We kept getting tougher with that. But our defense and the defensive field goal percentage was so poor because we were turning it over so much, all right? And because we were giving up baskets, we weren't getting a chance to run the break. And the break is, these guys are outstanding in the break. So really, the bottom line was we needed to play faster. We needed to move the ball even better offensively. And if we defended better and got more stops, it was going to make our break that much better, which was going to break open games. And along the way, they got a lot of confidence doing that. The drills didn't change. The drills have been the same since the summer. I mean, really, they haven't changed. Now, we've added a couple things, but we've also, these guys have really gotten better. Athletically, they've gotten better detail-wise, skill-wise, and that they've really, really built a connection. And I think that's what's helped our defense as much as anything.
Has there been anything extraordinary about the way, I guess, guys like OG and Juwan have been able to kind of sustain the level of play they've had over the last couple months?
No, I think it's confidence. I think their teammates have confidence in them. There's a lot of conversation that goes on in practice, a lot of conversation that goes on in the film room. So I'm sure there's a lot of conversation that goes on when they're not around us, right? And everybody was different. Juwan had to learn, OG had to learn how to sustain intensity. Juwan just had to get healthy. Thomas had to get healthy. I mean, I probably should have done a much better job of, like I've said this before, I wish we'd have played more zone in Maui, right? Looking back at that, Thomas wasn't healthy enough to do what we were trying to do yet. He'd had injuries to both feet. And you look back at it now, I mean, you're seeing the difference, right? I mean, he's so much more improved because he's healthier and he's gotten better. But I think all three of them have a great work ethic. And I mean, it's not like they're having bad practices. They might have moments in practice, but they don't have bad practices. That's rare for freshmen. They spend a lot of time in the gym. They're close, right? And because the seniors have accepted them in a good way over a period of time, they feel connected to it. So there's probably a lot of things that go in. They spend a lot of extra time at it, but they're not tired, right? I mean, I think they're a product of, what we're trying to do with practices and what we're trying to do with conditioning and those type of things. So they feel good with their energy there. But again, they got success. OG's was a little earlier in the Big Ten season, and then Juwan's came after the injury where those guys had success. And that just makes your confidence skyrocket. When your teammates believe in you and you actually believe in yourself because you're getting it done, fatigue doesn't kick in as much.
Just for Troy Lawrence, how was it tonight for him with leading the game in points, getting that pregame ceremony too?
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. I said, don't try to get the next 1,000 tonight, but he didn't listen. He went after it. Now, he plays so fast, and they matched up with Carter, with him, which Carter was going to have to match up with somebody on the perimeter, and they chose Troy. We obviously were going to have a hard matchup with Carter too, and on his offensive end. But Troy played like he was shot out of a cannon, and he really did, and he did it under control. A couple mistakes here and there, but he plays fast. He was aggressive. The way he started the second half was tremendous, going to the basket. He made great reads. The ball was put out in front. He's getting better. I mean, he works really hard at it. He's constantly getting better. And really proud of the way that he has responded since the Michigan State game. And now we just got to keep it up, right? We just got to keep it up. But he's done a fantastic job. It's not like he's practicing any harder. I mean, he's always practiced hard. But he's playing with real efficiency right now. So I hope we can keep sustaining that.
Tom, you beat up a little bit. How important is it that you have that double bottom?
Well, I haven't really thought much about that. I really haven't. We need to get better. Now along with that, rest comes in, but we're not tired. We're just a little physically injured, and we've had some sickness the last couple of days, and it's going around, and it hit us. And so, but these guys have navigated it, and nobody missed a game because of it. and Jawan hopefully will be able to respond like he's been able to respond before. So it's not like you look at it and say, well, we got to give these guys a couple days off. We just got to get better, and then we just got to manage it. But we've been managing it all year. I do different things in practice with different guys all the time, and we just don't, pre-announce it. But that's the most important thing. We've got to treat these next couple days, get ready for a couple of games, but we got to really, really focus on and we've got a good list. We're ready to do that. We met on that Thursday and Friday while we were preparing for this game, so we know what we need to get better at this week, and we'll put a lot of attention into that.
Okay, last question, Mike.
I think there was a point midway through the second half, you had 5 guys on the floor, not a single guard. What's going through?
Who was in?
I think
Jawan was at the 1, right?
It was Juwan,
Yeah.
Hartman, Troy.
We did have a guard.
and OG.
With Jawan, we play at the point in practice about 5 to 8, maybe 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
So we've been preparing. Yogi, it's when Yogi needed a blow. I think, did we get him 2 blows in the second half?
Yes.
Yeah, they were quick, but it's always better we can get him 2 blows. But you saw Jawan wasn't handling the ball by accident. That's what we do in practice. So Harrison could help. Troy could easily do that. Colin could do that. But we've been planning the last couple of weeks, especially with Rob's injury, that we were going to have more ball handling, and there were going to be those lineups. The other night, I didn't realize we had 4 freshmen on the floor. I don't even think like that anymore. A couple of weeks ago, I did. A couple of weeks ago, I'd be very, very conscious about having 3 freshmen out there, and we're playing Iowa, and we got 4 freshmen out there, so we're past that. But Jawan, we have a package where Jawan will handle the 1 spot for us in that type of situation.
I could just to ask quickly,
Go ahead.
Juwan, you talked about him a little bit.
On who?
Juwan, how's the shoulder?
He's in good spirits, but he's sore. We've been down this road, like I've said before, so I'll get an update here in a little bit. But his dad's here, and I know he's excited about that. And he was in a lot of pain, and it's tough. But he's been enduring this, and it gets back together, and they wouldn't put him out there if he wasn't cleared, obviously, and it just shows not only his physical toughness, but his mental toughness, and it shows that we've got really good, great trainer and great doctors that help him get back. We didn't have Jawan much this week. We didn't have him full till yesterday. So, in that sense, it's good that we don't play for a while. But again, we've been dealing with this, so I'm sure he'll be fine. Okay, thank you.